We are live on DSTV, channel 421, Go TV 144. This is John News Prime with me, Ernest Kojo Manu. Our top stories this hour. Poverty in Ghana and Kwanta North District of the Oti region is the most impoverished, with nearly 80% of the people said to be living in poverty. We'll speak to some of them about the state of affairs.
Parents have to sell their farm products and whatever before they can pay our fees. But we don't have the road. So many things are not moving out here.
Also coming up, girls, school, pregnancy. The story of how some girls in the Akachi North District of the Volta region are braving the odds to get their lives back on track despite their conditions. And that's coming up in Joy News' latest Hotline documentary. And as the 2022 BEC gets underway, 7 breastfeeding mothers and 11 pregnant girls are writing in the Wutusanya West District of the Western region.
I'm writing, the baby will be disturbing me, crying. If I want to take pen and put it on the paper, she'll be holding the paper.
I am fully prepared for this exam.
I can read day and night. I crack my brains hard.
We have details here on Joy News Prime and coming up in Prime Business.
A former Deputy Minister of Finance says Ghana can only close a deal with the IMF by end of the first quarter in 2023.
I'm for a very quick IMF program. But I can assure you that November is not possible, December not possible. The earliest Ghana can have an IMF program, if we are committed to it, will be in the first quarter of 2023.
Beverly Broom has details at 8 p.m. and at 8:15, Razak Musbao brings you the latest in sports. What's ahead?
We'll bring you an exclusive with board member of Accra Heart Folk, Vincent Soa Odote, following the club's exit from the CAF Confederations Cup.
This is the home of independent, fearless and credible journalism. Please stay for details here on Joy News Prime. Hello again, my name is Ernest Kojo Manu. Thanks for choosing us. Now, 2 months ago, they hit the streets to protest the deplorable nature of roads in their community. The people of Kwabri East did not mince words in describing the state of roads there and how it's affecting them. The chief of Mampontein in Kwabri expressed disappointment that a 5.5-kilometer road that had been abandoned since 2019 is affecting the people and causing harm. So on Monday, when President Akufo-Addo spent some time at Utek FM as part of his tour of the Ashanti region, the issue of roads in the region was top on the agenda. This was his response to the cry of the people, especially those in Kwabri East, who have been baring their teeth at their MP and government.
I don't think there's been a road minister who has a record like Kwesi Amoakwata. Yeah, he may be here, and I'll say it anywhere. There's nobody. I want anybody to come and tell me what road minister in our country has put together the package of roads that Kwesi Amoakwata has produced in these 6 years that we've been in office. Unprecedented.
Nanso, for Kwabri, Manso, and an important.
Yeah, but when it be so, because you to me one stage. I'm sorry to have to say. Then you say make us say obi there here sing obi here. But at the same time, see you see some so tino. And Manibani say you to me at one go. Good. Name by Ghana for the Bibedina there, Mahama. When you say expression, or say infrastructure development in his time was unprecedented.
Unprecedented, yeah.
Remember, very soon after me buying I'm still call round. See, I want to bring a certain new dimension to governance in Ghana. And my man who say, yes, what the Mako could say, Ghana being your Kuga so. Then so no, mean to me, my office. All the time. Let me show the cause. I said, Monsieur Memo.
Uchini, now shed the
cause. Make sure that conforms to me, not much. So only make it.
It didn't come on
the shed the cause. Bebia Mako Bessine, acquiring that will be Ubiano. Everybody is complaining about roads. So it becomes obvious to me that you can't change.
There's unprecedented, no, who said,
no correct. So Penny Musa, so because
Nana no boy the same.
Well, they're not the same. Yeah, but you have these things. I sent a memoir. The number of road projects that have been completed, 86 projects.
Wow.
Involving 1,850 kilometers of roads. Asphalted, reconstructed, repaved, etc. in this period. And then there's still another 310 projects which have been awarded and ongoing, which is going to bring into the basket another 3,800 kilometers of roads. Now, you have ministers who have performed in this manner. Kumase, 100 kilometers of roads have been done in our period here. Asphaltic overlay, over 300 kilometers of asphaltic overlay in roads in Ashanti.
Now, when asked about the threat of vote against the NPP, he said he cannot be frightened by those threats.
You do it.
I'm saying, people make those kind of threats. Me, they don't frighten me.
Okay.
Somebody votes for you, somebody supports you, it's because they want you to do things for them. I understand that. There's no need for people to go to my say. I don't want to watch them. But of course, mayor. About to decide to my NDC. I want them. I don't need myself. Obi and so and in teams baby. And they wow. The important thing is that we have a responsibility. I understand the responsibility, and we will deal with it.
Fantastic.
Right.
Now, President Akufo-Addo says he will not sack the finance minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, despite calls by some on him to do so. The poor state of the Ghanaian economy has necessitated the call, but the president said there's no justification for such action. He rather exonerated him of any blame.
Came to office in 2017.
Good.
Under an IMF program, which Emmanuel Biden said, stringent program. This same man was able to manage the affairs of our economy in such a way, sir. The first 4 years of my first term, we were one of the fastest growing economies in the world, an average growth rate of 7% a year from the beginnings of an IMF program, an economy that allowed us to initiate the program Planting for Food and Jobs.
Good.
A program which was happened in April of 2017. I believe so. I think it's April of 2017. Agriculture Minister, if I'm wrong, please correct me. But I believe it was April that we went to Boston.
April. Yes.
April. Yeah. But this man was able to organize the management of our economy in such a way that not only were we able to roll out all these programs in that first year and subsequent years, but our economy's growth was spectacular. And then they be for convenience sake. One in Kai. Says, I can't say Ghana for any Kai. So, somebody who has been able to do that, now feels so. Why would I say that? How do I do that? How do I do that? What would be the basis? What is the rationale? So I can say first time no crown no That's a different matter. And so I can say can be repeating for my second term.
Now, away from the president's tour, nearly 80% of persons living in the Nkwanta North District of the Oti region are multi-dimensionally poor. That's according to the Ghana Statistical Service in a new report to commemorate International Day for the Eradication of Poverty. Northeast Gonja in Savannah and Sechafran Plains in the Ashanti region joined the Nkwanta North as the only district with more than 3/4 of the household population living in poverty. 3 of the districts is in the top 10 with the highest poverty rate are in the northern region as well as the northeast region and the Oti regions. They have 2 districts each. Nanumba North and Gushegi municipalities in the northern region are with over 100,000 persons living in multi-dimensionally poor households. My colleague Peter Senu has been to the Nkwanta North district and has been engaging some of the residents there.
Parents have to sell their farm products and whatever before they can pay our fees. But we don't have the road. So many things are not moving out here.
When all because nipa nia. Aha. What? Okay. Ekwenye. Sa nema bo high. Adan ahanya outside. Obroni mu kura mu nema no wo form. Sisi anu kwoto nema chale. Udi nema kwadwo kwoto a. Bayero kura odi kwa. Hwe condemn. Sisi afia baby o ma reza kwoto. Yentimi fando afom. Bayero ento Church say and come on any pomana. Some of the Ayan Cordia. Netian say a hammer, young branty be brave or high near Jumaya. A Juma pan, I can say Juma branty by yas, maybe about why you Juma one is say no. Scan you. Me and Megina say me have a list. The Shia, a Jumana from a papa and some. A Jumana papa and some of my fiance have and do. Say me habano education duro na yanto mo ayem rantie adwuma o ma yanye adwuma ye adwuma ba e be yesa be ma nam sante ama boys bebre nam be kura be ba chiri ye no ma basa e okurum.
Yeah, that is why I said that the fact remains that we have challenges, we don't have proper education, we don't have roads, we don't have hospitals. It doesn't make us the poorest. Because I know people who are in Nkwanta North who have money. You see, the issue is that we are in the rural area. Our people are not all that civilized with what to use the money to do. But when you say that we are the poorest district, that is what I disagree. Because I know of our people who live on their own, who are businessmen, who have big monies with them. I suggest they go back to their drawing board and redo their checks very well. Because if you said Nkwanta North in general, my brother, our people, young guys are buying cars and other things. So if you said Nkwanta, that's what I'm saying, that they should go back to their drawing board and redo their research and redo their checks.
Very interesting views there from the Nkwanta North municipality. Peter Senu is our man on the ground and he joins us via Zoom. Peter, so the standards in terms of standard living, we have people that say they do not have jobs, but some of the indicators include health and education. What can you report as far as the district is concerned?
Yes, Nkwanta North, in fact, very deprived. It's a very deprived community, and recently when some portions of the road, government is trying to fix it, but generally it's very deprived. And if we recall, I did some report in terms of access to potable water in the area. Right. And so it is only in the rainy seasons that they have access to rainfall that they collect to use. If we talk about health delivery, it is nothing to write home about. Last year, during the health performance review. In fact, the district was the least among all the 9 districts in the region in terms of health delivery. And so it's a dire situation for them. They are only calling on authorities or powers that be to come to their aid. In terms of education, they have only 1 senior high school, a secondary technical education in the whole district. And so access is for those who can. And in fact, those who can sometimes do not have the resources in terms of infrastructure, furniture to use in the classrooms, but they are deprived. And so until I think yesterday that DCE told us that they had to procure about 1,000 pieces of desks to distribute to some schools. Some could only get the least number of 20 to use in their schools, for which they are happy though, but it is still not enough. And so he said that he is not surprised about what the findings are. He has lived through it all. And so he's only appealing that agencies that could come to their aid to help ameliorate their plight do so within the shortest possible time. Else, it is a dire situation for them, Ernest.
All right. Well, let's hear from the DCE who has been speaking to you, Peter.
Quantanov, even if not today, we are much aware we are in one of the deprived districts in the Oti region and Ghana at large. So I am not much surprised if Quantanov is ranked 1 in terms of for poverty and then some other things that take us to this far. Yes, today marks Poverty Eradication Day, and per Ghana Statistical Service, on which we are all relying to make an input, they conducted a survey. We trust Ghana Statistical Service. We rely on the Ghana Statistical Service for inputs. Government rely on them to make a budget, also make an input with respect to Ghana. So if they come out with funding, speaking to the whole world that Quantanov is one of the poorest districts among the first 50 that have been captured under their survey. Yes, it's true, depending the area they are coming from, because they categorically stated multidimensional poverty. So it means, therefore, that it is not a particular area, but it is multi. It is covering almost everything that comes to make human life better. And yes, of course, Quantanov has all these challenges. We have to do with, maybe you talk about the road network. You have seen it your own self. I should not be talking to that issue. And I will be happy, more happier, that after here, if you can easily capture, I know you from Nkwanta to Pasa, you saw the nature of the road. And Quantanov is occupied about 95%. The farmers felt that, what do we do to ourselves? What are we doing? This is the last investment. That is our last hope. So 1 year, one full good year, you make investment and finally come out that my produce are wasted. So how do I feed my family? So
are you worried about this development as a leader of the community?
Much worried. Much worried. I was speaking to several media stations on this issue. You look at the nature of the road, and you know, excuse me to say that, accessibility is very key. Okay? Even if we have a booming market here, or we have product that is a booming market in Kofredua, how do I get there with the produce? It means, therefore, that the people will be seeing that we have a source of money here to go and make it. But they can't get there because the road has actually been deprived.
So that's the Municipal Chief Executive speaking to you, Peter, and he clearly understands what the challenges are. But what do you see in terms of attempts to deal with this over the years, and especially by this government?
Well, before I go to the Ernest, before we got here, in fact, we got stuck in terms of access to the area. We got stuck for more than 30 minutes, and one truck would have to come and pull the heavier truck that got stuck in the mud before we were able to move. And so that is how come we are even running late into the night. But back to the question. As we speak, we have the Agenda 111 currently ongoing at the foundation level. The contractor is on site now, and so we can say government is doing something in terms of health delivery. If it is completed by next year, June, thereabout, as we understand, then that should bring some relief to the people. In terms of road construction, during the election 2020, government awarded the town routes to a contractor, but as we speak, we have only about 1 kilometer of it that has been done. Even that has some challenges. And so the rest of the road now is still dusty, and when rain falls, the mud is unbearable. And so that is the situation they find themselves in. And they are only praying that the road and other projects do not become another campaign promise for successive governments in the area. And so government may be doing something, but they would want more so that the position they are, they will get out of it.
Peter, thank you very much, and we'll be expecting some more from you subsequently as you interact with the people there. But let's go to the new job in South Municipality now in the Eastern region, because they have the lowest poverty rate in the country. That is 4.8%. Kofi J is data analyst with a research desk, and Kofi joins me in the studio with some more on this report released by the Ghana Statistical Service. Kofi, so the indicators, walk us through that first of all, and tell us what are the important details that you're picking from New Drabin, but also in Kwanta North, where Peter just reported from in terms of the issues that they're facing.
Right, so Ernest, we have about 261 districts currently in Ghana, and out of this 261, 50 out of this number are multidimensionally poor. So if you say someone is multidimensionally poor, what do we mean? In Ghana, we have 3 indicators that we look at, and as you can see on the touch screen, number 1 is health, number 2 is education, and the last one being living standards. So if you are deprived in all of these 3 indicators or dimension, then we say you are multidimensionally poor. So just like you said, if you look at the league table in terms of the district, in Kwanta North in the OT region, we've said it's number 1 in terms of the region with percentage of people living in multidimensionally poor households, more close to 80% over there, followed by the Northeast Gonja in the Savannah region, and you see the rest follow. And if you look at the national average, it's around 30%. So if you compare the national average to that of in Kwanta North, you can see the disparity, or you can see the variance between 79.7% and 29.9%.
So the district we see in red are the top 5.
The top 5
poorest.
The poorest. And those in blue are, the situation is, good here. You talk about number 1 being New Drabin, South Municipal, having just 4.8% of.
And New Drabin is the Koforidua area, the township.
The heart of Koforidua, actually. Followed by, we have, Asokwa Municipal in the Ashanti region, 5.2. And then also we have Greater Accra region, East Municipality with 7.4%. But let's do a more, we have other, in terms of nominal figures, if you want to talk about the numbers, we have, the Nanumba North Municipal having leading. But in terms of percentage-wise, they will not make it to the league table, because if you compare this number to their population, the percentage is not as high as in Kwanta North. But let's, look at the regional breakdown. And as you can see, those in red are the areas where we see this multi-dimensional poverty, playing out or panning out a lot. So if you look at the northern zone of the map, you can actually see that almost all the regions in the north have, red spots, signaling that these regions or this district have high, multi-dimensional poverty over there. But I also want us to look at a pictorial view of this, district that we spoke about. So we start with in Kwanta North, and see what is in this district that the Ghana Statistical Service is reporting this. Now, Ernest, look at this. Look at the poor nature of road in this district that we are talking about, or the municipality. Look at some of the principal streets in the municipality. Oh, you can see that this feeder road is not even tarred. And then, just like Peter was saying, you see a section of the road having, being tarred.
A bit of bitumen surface there.
But the rest, you can see that sometimes you can see that the area is a bit dry, with a lot of feeder roads and untarred road. And then even look at the nature of buildings in this municipality, and we compare it to New Drabin, of which I'll be doing very soon. You can see the difference between, so let's take a 3D view of this, in Kwanta, so this is in Kwanta. And you can see for yourself that the situation actually correlates with what the Ghana Statistical Service is reporting. So their living standard in this area, you can actually see by this satellite image that it's not good. It's a dire situation for them, just like Peter reported. But let's go to New Joburg South and compare this to Nkwanta and see how different New Joburg is to Nkwanta. And you saw that in Nkwanta, you couldn't even see any indication like hospital, although they were, but they were a handful. But let's look at New Joburg and count the number of hospitals probably we can see in this district. So first, Ernest, help me count hospitals. So if you see, okay, so number one, we see St. Joseph Hospital over here. Then we see SDA, hospital, Koforidua East. There's another one here. There's, St. Joseph Hospital again. There, I think I saw a district, a regional hospital somewhere here. Exactly.
That's the regional hospital.
The regional hospital in the New Joburg area. So you see that the picture here in New Joburg is completely different from what we saw in Nkwanta, where we saw that most of the road untarred, and then we saw a dry area. But in the New Joburg, the picture is different. You can actually see that this is an area where they have a lot of hospitals. If you do a distance mapping in terms of how a crow flies, you can actually see that the distance between where people live and hospitals are not really far.
Really far. And the road infrastructure is also very good.
Comparing this
as compared to
Nkwanta North. So there you have it. The satellite images we have here correlating perfectly with what the Ghana Statistical Service is reporting.
Kofi, thank you, as always, for helping us appreciate the figures even better. You're watching Joy News Prime with me, Ernest Kojo. Still to come, girls' school pregnancy. The story of how some girls in the Akachi North district of the Volta region are braving the odds to get their lives back on track despite their conditions. Hello again, thanks for staying with us here on Joy News Prime. Now, stigmatization is threatening the Ghana Education Services school re-entry policy for pregnant adolescent girls and adolescent mothers. The policy is aimed at ensuring that the girl child attains her full potential by returning to school with or without pregnancy or childbirth. Even though local school authorities are doing their best to sustain the policy, poor community support is slowing down the expected outcomes. Join us' latest documentary dubbed Girls' School Pregnancy, produced by MFA Tiamo Eli, details how some girls in the Akachi North district of the Volta region are braving the odds to get their lives back on track in spite of their current predicament. Here's an excerpt of that documentary.
Girls' School Pregnancy focuses on the lives of some pregnant adolescent girls and adolescent mothers, their quest to return to school, and how society is helping them or worsening their situation. Data from the latest multiple cluster indicator survey show that teenage pregnancy is most prevalent in Ghana's Upper West, Upper East, and Volta regions. The figures have not decreased significantly in the last 5 years, particularly in the Volta region. In the Akachi North district, figures are higher than the national average. So we travel to Avedakba, one of the communities in Akachi North, where teenage pregnancy is very common. In the Volta region, 6,000 girls were impregnated over a 2-year period. Social workers particularly are very concerned about the figures. They are working with local school authorities, parents, and community leaders to end the Dai Wilkbe is the Volta Regional Director of the Department of Gender. She leads a team comprising officials from the Ghana Health Service and the GES to hold a special training session for pregnant girls and adolescent mothers. Among the objectives of the training is to encourage pregnant girls to return to school or take up a vocation to secure their future. It is also to empower adolescent mothers and pregnant girls on the forms, implications, and prevention of sexual and gender-based violence and child marriage. Nearly 30 pregnant girls and adolescent mothers in Ave are participating in the session.
Akachi North happens to be the highest recording district in the Volta region. Currently, Akachi North is recording about 22% of adolescent pregnancies. And what is more devastating for me is that about 4.5% of those pregnancies are children below 14 years, which is clearly cases of defilement.
16-year-old Joyce Achu is among several adolescent girls who got pregnant while in school. She left school when she was 8 months pregnant at the time. Her uniform wouldn't fit anymore and she couldn't afford a new one. She plans to return to school after giving birth and nursing her child for at least 2 years.
Can a nurse be a full as you the can I feel?
I never see a video. Of Kaka, Miss Smova Madi. I'm a viola, master ball of poison. I'm a fan and Kaka de Vota. Madziva, Manon Vivi, the drum, Marco Plum Vivirota. But I could never jivia for Kodama Trova. Yagna Maila Yama Madame the Carabuma Bullying. Time may you Madame have you.
Joyce is now her mother's responsibility, as is typical of teenage pregnancy stories. Her father is upset and will use any excuse to kick her out of the house. Her 22-year-old boyfriend has also refused to take responsibility for her because Joyce's mother has refused to let her live in with him.
Aba onye aye bla ko tai no ba ani mahano yo gba no pepon la yo nchi tai ka magbako yo nte mega kpafo finya mahadruta mano no nyebu.
And the documentary airs on Tuesday, 18th October 2022 at 8 a.m. on Joy FM on the Super Morning Show and 6:30 p.m. on Joy News same day. You don't want to miss it. You're watching Joy News Prime with me, Ernest Kojo. We stay with the issue of pregnancy, and because over 500 candidates are participating in this year's Basic Education Certificate examination in the Ewutu Senya West District, 7 breastfeeding mothers and 11 pregnant girls are participating. In the Pandai district, a total of 1,969 candidates from 46 public and 11 private schools are sitting the exam in 8 centers. The number includes 6 teenage mothers. One of the nursing mothers has been speaking to Adom News reporter Odeshe Owusu Job on why she decided to sit the exam and the challenges she faced on day one.
My name is Ihenya Esther. I'm attending the Silver Junior High School, and if I'm writing, the baby will be disturbing me, crying. If I want to take pen and put it on the paper, she'll be holding the paper. She'll be holding the pen, collecting the pen from me, not the right way. So she'll be crying. I don't know why to do.
Chad?
Yes, sir.
Why are you so proud?
Say it was a mistake that down.
So when you came and then you saw your other colleagues who have not given birth, how was the feelings?
So I was feeling well.
You feel proud of yourself that although you have given birth, but you came to sit to write with them?
Yes.
But are they teasing you?
No, sir.
They're not teasing you?
Yes.
Is the guy older than you?
Yes.
Is he also schooling?
Yes.
Which school?
University.
University?
Yes.
So, meaning, and what do you want maybe the entire country should do for you? As you are talking about poor parental care and then poverty issue.
So I want them to help me to go to school.
You want to fed up your school?
Yes.
So you want assistant?
Yes.
Now, in the northern region, some students are calling for strict supervision to ensure the examination questions do not leak. They spoke to Martina Bugri.
The northern region presented 29,648 students for this year's examination. The figure comprises 15,815 boys and 13,833 girls with 783 centers. Speaking to some of the candidates at the Kapoini Center, the students pleaded that the examination be conducted devoid of the annual leakage. Isa Salim, a student of Taha Aliyah Islamic, added that he had studied hard and was certain he would pass the examination.
I am fully prepared for this exam, no matter what the question is, and we are not hoping for any leakage or something. We are always prepared for this exam.
What did you do to show that you are well prepared?
Yeah, during the previous days, we used to learn. Our teachers used to encourage us to learn and then put our mind out of what, depending on leakage and all that. And so we try to learn hard just to pass this examination. Because they tell us that this examination is our future.
Okay. Another student, Akolgo Rita, said she spent sleepless nights preparing for the examination.
And I work hard to get my exams done.
When you say you work hard, what did you do?
Like I read day and night, I crack my brains hard, and my institute also helped me to study.
Okay. You say you crack your brains. What does that mean? Me, I don't understand.
Like I read, and I read. I don't sleep. Yes. Like how I always sleep when I was in primary. I don't sleep like that again.
Some of the students who spoke to Joy News at the Baga Baga Demonstration C Center expressed hope that they would pass the examination.
Exams went good because everything that I read came into the exam, so I write. I believe that I will pass.
Okay. What are you expecting to get at the end? Everything. What grade do you expect to get?
My grade, I need to get grade 6. Grade 6.
And 6 junior high school students of the State Experimental Basic 1 and 2 schools in Kumasi missed out on the first day of the BECE. Headmaster of the school says the authorities are yet to find out why the students did not show up for the exam. Anita Sewajuga has been visiting some centers in the Shanti region and further reports.
Out of 270 students from the State Experimental Basic 1 and Basic 2 school, 264 candidates sat for the Social Studies and ICT paper. According to authorities, the 6 students would have to re-register and sit for the 2023 BECE. Solomon Osei Kankam is headmaster of State Experimental Basic 2 school.
We have 2 schools writing the exams here. That is, we have State Experimental Basic 1 and then State Experimental Basic 2. Altogether, we are expecting 270 candidates. But unfortunately, we have about 6 absenteeism. Yeah, those who have not reported. We are yet to know the exact reason why they did not report for the examination. For now, if they don't report, then it means they cannot write the exams unless probably next year they come back to register.
Wrist watches were one of the items prohibited by invigilators in previous years due to examination malpractice. But this year, students were allowed to take wrist watches to the exam hall.
Unlike those days whereby children are not allowed to go with their watches and all those things, this time it's not like that. They are searched to be sure that there's nothing on them. They are not supposed to go with any foreign material. So that has been adhered to.
Every year, English language is one of the first papers to be written at the BECE, but that's not the case this year. Headmistress of the State Experimental Basic 1 School, Joanna Anochiwa, says the students have been prepared to write all subjects regardless of the change in subjects.
The change of the subjects are directives from the WAEC. We were informed before today, so we met them, the students, and informed them. We groomed them about it, and teachers prepared them towards it, that today they are writing the ICT and the social, so they are aware, they are okay with it.
Love News spoke to some students writing at the St. Hubert Seminary and Senior High School.
Yes, by the grace of God and how we've learned so far, I'm sure we can pass this examination.
We were not expecting most of the questions, but we tried our best. And just as our teachers taught us that we should not depend on any source, we followed it and it helped us.
Oh, you will pass it. You will pass. Pass it, pass here with that. You will pass.
So what I heard is that it will be super hard than our mock, but it wasn't so. It's like what we learned. That's what came.
For Joy News, Anita Sewa Ajuga reporting.
And in the Northeast region, the regional minister Yidana Zakaria says government is determined to address the issues of lack of textbooks and other resources for basic school teachers and students across the country. Mrs. Zakaria was speaking in Wale after making an official visit to examination centers to monitor the start of this year's BCE.
The Basic Education Certificate examination started successfully today in the Northeast region with over 8,000 candidates consisting of 4,327 boys and 3,816 girls across the 6 districts in the region. The region recorded only one child with a learning difficulty. These statistics were reviewed by the education authorities when the regional minister Yidana Zakari visited some of the examination centers as part of his official duty to monitor the academic exercise. At the Wulugu Senior High School, the regional director of education, Simon Amwakesi, who was in the company of the regional minister, advised the candidate who would excel in the exams to choose the newly established STEM Senior High School at Pasingpe.
So when you are going to when I was like so that when I go tell people to choose person, if you don't choose person, they're going to make from what? Serve to come up at the school. From today when you go home after your exams, choose what? Person.
At the Wale Senior High School, where candidates from nearly 15 different schools were taking part in the exams, the minister and his entourage, including the Wale MCE, were satisfied with the exercise as they were told no challenge had been recorded.
Now, away from the BCE, experts believe Ghana is heading towards a future blacklist of its gold due to illegal processing involved in the small-scale mining sector. A professor of applied geology, Professor Emmanuel Ahin, and director of research for the Ghana Chamber of Bullion Traders, Henry Osei, tells Love News the current devastation of forest reserves and pollution of water bodies in search of gold could lead to a ban on Ghana's gold. This is an excerpt from the third and final part of our Hotline documentary, Destruction for Gold, produced by Rastos Asaridonko.
Despite Ghana being a signatory to the Minamata Convention, highlights of which include a ban on new mercury mines and the phasing out of existing ones, the use of mercury in artisanal mining is still a major feature in Ghana. We found indications of the use and discharge of mercury into the environment on our visit to the mining sites within the Odahon Forest Enclave at Manso Tontokrum in the Ashanti region.
If you look on the floor here, you can see this mercury dropped on the floor. And these pipes, looking at where it's going, it's leading to, let's say, another source of water. So all these things going into the water and people going to drink is going to be harmful to them.
The UNEP global emission will say that about 37% of mercury
comes from ASM. And in Ghana, we have 91.3% out of the various sources of mercury coming from ASM.
Dr. Lily Lisa Yevuga is a scientist with the University of Energy and Natural Resources. She has been researching into the use of mercury in artisanal mining in Ghana.
Ghana has become a gateway for mercury access within the country. Burkina Faso, Cote d'Ivoire, they are all getting their mercury from Ghana. As to how legal or illegal it is, I cannot talk about it. The usage in some parts of the country where the mining activities are going on is quite scary. This is very toxic. As it goes into the system, it's very carcinogenic. So it affects your neurological, it causes neurological disorder, it affects the liver, the kidney, and for pregnant women, it affects the fetus, leading to disabled children.
The bereaved family of the late Eko Blankson on Saturday, 15th October, had the one-week observation at the Tema Community 11 Presbyterian School Park. The multimedia group team, led by the programs director of Hit FM, Prince Chega, was at the one-week observation and made a donation to the family. This is a report filed by the Joy Entertainment Desk.
Lansing on Saturday the 15th of October had the one-week celebration for the late actor. Prince Chega, the program's director for Hit FM, who led the multimedia delegation, had this to say about the late Eko Blankson.
He worked for a year from 2005 to 2006 as the general manager for Love FM. And you know, Eko has passion in media a lot, you know. People didn't know him prior to him being, a manager. He tried on air with Marco Kwekumante back in the day. So Eko has had an affiliation with the brand. You know, this was told to me by Marco Kwekumante himself, the Honorable Deputy Minister. That, I mean, so he even advised Eko to go and pursue his sales and, marketing stuff and leave the media alone. But Eko was still affiliated with the media in the managerial level. And apart from that, Eko has also been a good friend. We were at the Saddle College together.
What has been your experience knowing Eko, one, as a colleague, a former colleague, and also as a friend?
As a former colleague, Eko is a very loving person. Eko goes out of his way to do things for people he likes. I remember when he was in upper 6 and I was in lower 6, I was standing for the head prefect. Regardless of his exam pending, he was campaigning for me.
Host of the morning show on Hit FM, Andy Dosty, had these memories to share of the late actor.
Apart from working with him, having a chance to work with him, how was he like? You have had lots of working experiences with him.
Eko, gentleman. One word, gentleman. Very calm. He doesn't talk too much. And Eko loved to party. You know, yeah.
Firstborn son of the late actor Eko Blankson, in the person of Scott, narrates the ordeal of what happened before the father's demise.
He was having a feverish and he was rushed to Leonard Pharmacy and he was referred to IMA, but unfortunately at that time we couldn't get an ambulance and the taxi were not around, so we had to refer him to General Hospital, which he couldn't make it.
Which day was this?
That was on Sunday, so I would say 12 dawn.
Date set by the family of the late Eko Blankson for the final funeral rite will be on the 16th and 17th of December 2022.
May his soul rest in peace. And Oheneye Giftianti was at the Zen Gardens for songstress Abiana concert. That's Abiana live in concert. Oheneye, who says she has been keenly following the music industry, says she's happy with the growth that she's seen in musicians.
Because though I do not, you know, my heydays when I was in secondary school, I was entertainment prefect. So I've always been part of the entertainment world, though on the quiet, but I follow the entertainment scene, the musical, in the music industry, the creative industry, you know, so I know what is going on and I'm proud of them, each and every one of them. They are doing so well. And we are on the international scene now. You know, no more, in the days, then in those days, now we are Black Sherif is there, Sarkodie is there, Stonebwoy is doing it, Shatta is doing it, Episode is doing it, Abiana is doing it, Becca did her own thing. You know, Ms. V is doing it, you know. So I'm very excited. Very, very excited.
She's still in her element. She's really an entertainment prefect. Henry, thank you very much.
Ghana music to the world. And that's it for Journey's Prime today. Many thanks for your company. We have more stories on myjoyonline.com. Up next is Prime Business with Beverly. Please stay tuned in.